This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
My chair is getting squeaky. Like every time I move, my chair is just making so much noise. I gotta get that. Like when I was growing up, WD-40 fixed everything. Do you know what that is? It's in the yellow, blue, reddish.
Yeah.
Like all those colors are on the can and white.
It was the to quote a little bit of my Big Fat Greek Wedding, it was the Windex of fixing things.
Yeah. When I'm moving, I hear it squeak all the time, and that's what I think of. Seriously, I would WD-40 for bicycle chains, anything, just everything, locks, anything rusty. I just used to use it, and we have some, but now they used to have the tube that you would spray through. You'd have to.
Yeah, it looked like one of the coffee straws.
Yes, but you would have to, it would come with it, but then you would have to push it in. Now it's attached to it, and you just lift it up and spray, because we have a can now. So, anyway, yep. So remind me when we're done to put some of that on here, all right?
Okay.
Okay, thanks. So today I want to talk to you about something that might be a little bit difficult, maybe a little bit complicated, and I'm not even sure if you have an answer for it, but I think that it's worth talking about and it's important. Yeah. And so I'll just say what it is first, and then we can talk about it, okay?
Okay.
Something that happens is just about every time that you're around the kids, and Connor is 6 and Madison is 5. And this isn't something new that I'm about to say. It's been going on for a very long time. But just about every time that they're with you, you get very upset with them. And at 5 and 6, they're still trying to figure out, their limits. They're trying to push the boundaries. They're trying to find, what they're allowed to say. But, they're learning how to voice their opinions. And it's not always easy. It's, part of being there for them as they're growing up is to help to guide and direct. And to let them know, and this is of huge importance to me, just like it was for you when you were growing up and for Bug when she was growing up. And that is that Connor and Mads need to have the understanding that what they say is valuable, that how they feel matters, what they think about things matters, and they're also should just be allowed to be kids sometimes. And kids are messy and stinky and loud and unpredictable, and sometimes it's very chaotic. And sometimes, they can push and push and push and push and just kind of, can't speak for you, but make me like, okay, I need a break. Right?
Right.
But something happens when they're with you, or you're with them, or you're in the same vicinity. Not just that you're watching them, but if they're in my care, and I'm the one that's watching them, but you're here, you come into the living room or the kitchen or whatever, so they're not even your responsibility. They really aggravate you. And something that I want to try to figure out with you is, what can we do to not just help them to feel better when they're around you, but to help you to feel better when you're around them? Because so an aggravation level, let's just say, so kids can push you. These two babies, they're super close in age.
Yeah.
And if we're going to talk about this, we have to be totally honest too.
Okay.
Connor has ABA, and it's applied behavioral analysis.
Right. Which is because he also has autism.
Correct. What that means is that those adults in their lives are being trained how to help them. Now, whether somebody that's listening here believes in ABA or not, that's not what we're debating right now. The reason I bring that up is because we are in the process really of looking at how to help them to manage, how to help to, for them to be successful. And yes, ABA is involved because Connor has been diagnosed as having autism.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a 6-year-old, that's something that's an option right now. And so, Bug has decided that we will bring that on and see if it helps.
Okay.
See what, what it's all about. Well, so an issue that you have that I see consistently is that while anybody else, let's just say, kids can, they can, push buttons, or they can make you a little bit stressed. You, not just you, anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say that my stress with the kids start at 0. Because it does. Because when I think of the kids, I'm just so full of love for them
Mm-hmm.
that I want them with me.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing them makes me happy. See all this artwork that's around my desk here, that's taped to the walls, and using the tacks on my boards and stuff. This because I just love being with the kids and thinking about them. It makes me happy, and being around the stuff that they've created it feels good to me.
Yeah.
I know that that's not the case with everybody, and that's not the case with you. You love the kids. I know that you do.
Yeah, I do.
That anxiety or stress level for me that starts at 0. Now, granted, from a scale of 1 to 10, after they've been with me for a day or two, that stress level can end on 20. Right?
Yeah.
It just takes an awful lot to get there, though. But the thing that I want to talk to you about is that you kind of start at like a 5 or 6 out of a scale from 1 to 10.
Is that what it looks like to you?
It's absolutely what it looks like, because what it looks like is that, and what I'm seeing, this is what I want to talk to you about, how you feel, because what I see and what other adults in the family see is that, sorry, I started a thought and then I went in a different direction. The kids deal with basically having 3 homes.
Mm-hmm.
They live with Bug,
Mm-hmm.
and RJ, their dad, has an apartment that they go to, and he takes them on his days off.
Mm-hmm.
And our house, they have their own bedroom.
Yeah.
They share it. They have bunk beds in their bedroom, and but they have a room.
Yeah.
And so it does make a difference on the person that they've been with the day before or the day of,
Right.
when we're around them.
Right.
And what I would say is that your sister and I, and Dad, so that home,
Mm-hmm.
Bug's home, which is where their main residence is,
Mm-hmm.
and our home here, it's similar. So our expectations and our guidance of them is very similar. When they go to RJ's, it is very, very different, because there's not such a routine, and there's not an expressed expectation,
Right.
or the guidance, or the holding them accountable.
There is and there isn't over there, I think. I think it's more reactionary than set in place.
Well, I mean, you're there more than I am, so I certainly, I certainly think that you would know this better than I do, but what I will say is that there's a different parenting style that doesn't necessarily involve being proactive and getting them to a place of security and comfort and being allowed to express themselves in certain ways, because we give clear guidelines. We try to. It's hard being a parent. It's hard raising decent humans. All right? It really is. You really have to put forth an effort all the time. And I'll just put it this way. When they come here after they've been at Bug's house, it's kind of seamless.
Mm-hmm.
When they come here after being at RJ's house, it's chaos.
Mm.
If RJ is here, it's chaos. If he drops them off and he goes, then ultimately they end up being fine. If RJ stays, it's chaotic. and that's because there's no... What I observe for myself here is that there's no holding them accountable in a reasonable time frame until he blows up, and then, or just lets them do a video game or TV just to shut them up.
Right.
And that's what I've seen. Look, this podcast isn't to bash RJ, but in order to understand what it is that we're talking about today, that has to be mentioned because it's part of it. Because they get these different messages from different places.
Right, I can see that.
And where Madison's going to have a little fit, RJ's going to pick her up and say, "Oh, what's the matter, princess?" And let her get away with everything.
Yeah.
Your sister Bug goes, I don't think so, sister." You know? And my answer to this is, I can't understand you, turn off the wine so I can hear your words.
Right.
And she does.
Yeah.
And different ways of doing it, not... just different.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're with the kids, though, one of the things that I'm concerned about is that they aggravate you so bad that there's a lot of raising your voice, there's a lot of harshness that's used with them from you, and I'm concerned because I can see that they're starting, that they don't listen.
Huh.
And one thing that I think about is that, look, if you start at a level 5 or 6 to begin with, where do you go and where do they go? You know what I mean? It doesn't. Neither one of you have an option, really. You don't have wiggle room. You don't have a place to be comfortable with one another. And I want to know from you, what is it about the kids that gets you so agitated, and what we can do to help you, because there's two things. One, yeah, they're little people, right? It's our job to help. I guess you didn't sign up for this job, okay? Let me just make that straight. You didn't sign up for this job. I love this job. I love guiding and directing them and teaching them and just being with them.
Right.
I get it. Your sister had kids. Now you're subjected to their sticky fingers that spill things and, and make a mess and talk back and, all that stuff. I get it. But for me, I want to find a way for them to be okay when they're around you and for you to be okay when you're around them.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
I can... Yeah.
So that was a long, I took up a lot of the, all this air just now. So that's what I want to talk about because it's a big problem.
Yeah.
And something just happened over the weekend and I want to talk about that too, but please.
So, let's start off on the scale thing that you brought up.
Sure.
So, you say that when it comes to the kids, it looks like I'm starting out at like a 5.
Yes.
when for me that doesn't feel to be the case.
Okay.
It quickly escalates to that and beyond very quickly. But it starts out much less. And one of the kids like to see me.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever they see me, they, Uncle Josh.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, most of the time they just call you Uncle.
Or Josh, and then they're corrected, and then they call me Uncle.
Yeah. A lot of times, most of the time, when you're not around, they will ask me, "Where's Uncle?" They don't say Uncle Josh; they just say Uncle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
When they're around, you don't start off at a 5. It feels different for you.
Yes. And it, whenever they first see me, they'll come running up to me, Uncle Josh,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like they have a complete change in personality after that, unless they want something from me. But it's whenever the kids were first brought home and everything, it was, for me, it was very stressful. And there is a point that I'm bringing this up. I'm going to tie it in.
Okay.
It was stressful whenever they were first brought home, and since then, I've had to take care of them a lot of times. No, throughout time, I've had a lot of time to take care of them. Whenever like you guys go on a date or whatever. I'm not saying it very well. I'm sorry.
I know, but I like the idea of going on a date. There have been times that, there's been times when, as of late, it's been very few times that you are left alone with them. There have been times, not just where we're going to go out and have a good time and stay for hours, but there have been times when, we just ask you to fill in real quick. Or
like for example, if you and Dad are watching Connor and I'm here, Connor and Maddie, and you guys go on a walk and the kids want to play in the backyard.
Mm-hmm. That's a good example.
Yeah. And that's fine. That kind of situation is fine. It's when it comes time for them to do something that they don't want to. Or they do something that's not acceptable. Not just for me, but in society and just...
No, don't go based on my look.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to find the right words.
Okay. Because I did do an eyebrow raise thing there, and I don't want that to, you've been taught so much about facial expression. I don't want you to interpret that as, I did that because I'm thinking that was a in the moment reaction of mine, because that's one of the things that I observed that I wanted to talk to you about, is that your version of what's okay for the kids to do is vastly different than my version of what's okay. Because they've got to be respectful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet them being loud is different than being disrespectful.
Right.
Them, making a mess. as part of just doing something, that's okay, because it's not time to clean up yet. It's time to, make a mess. And yes, so that look was like, oh, because this is one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, which is them, that I've seen you get upset and they're not doing anything wrong. They're just being kids.
I saw the finger quotes.
I know. They're just being kids.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, how do we help the situation? Because I'm not going to come to you and say, which I have before. I have told you, leave, go in a different room.
Right.
Because you get so elevated and aggravated and so frustrated with them. And I don't really know what to do. I feel like I'm stuck in the middle, because I don't know, in those moments when that's happening, which is just about every time you're around the kids, what do you need? Because I think the best way that we can help the kids to be okay and to not feel that you're upset with them all the time is to help you to feel better being around them. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
And how you feel matters.
Yeah. One of the... You brought up having me leave the room that they're in so I can...
Yeah, I think I do that a lot. I think that we end up having to do that a lot, and it's not like a planned thing. It's not like one of the escape things that we've had in place for other things, right?
Right. This is telling me, this is you telling me, try and go someplace else so you're not elevated even more, so you can get away from the situation.
Yes, and in full disclosure, I'm not always very nice about that, because when we're in a situation where the babies are being yelled at and they don't know what to do. It's like me coming at you and yelling at you for something. If you didn't know what you were doing or what you're being expected to do, what I'm asking of you, but I'm just yelling at you, your stress is going to just get higher and higher, and you're not going to know what to do. And then you're at a disadvantage, because had the kids been with Bug? Have they been with me? Have they been with RJ? So where we're dealing with that, you have even more of a disadvantage, because which kid are you going to get? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they have like this personality disorder, but they certainly have.
Their recent experiences influence what they do at the time.
Well, yeah, and after they've been with their dad for a couple of days, it takes about a full day of our consistency to help them to get back into the swing of things, excuse me, of feeling accountable and being responsible for their actions and their words.
Right. I know I was going somewhere. I have no idea what I said. Right now, it all just went out.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
And everything.
I'm going to start, and if you think about it, feel free to interrupt, okay? Because we want to hear what you were saying.
Okay.
But Madison had her first ballet recital over the weekend, and Saturday she had a rehearsal. Then she had a show at 2:00, a production at 2:00. And then she had rehearsal, and then she had a show at 6:00. And you and RJ went to the 6:00 show.
Yeah.
And she was, sometimes, I wasn't there, so I don't know. Apparently she was being loud, she was talkative, she got a wand that had some bells on it, and she was, making noise with that. She had some little wings and stuff that RJ had got her. Mm-hmm. And she was behind all the seats, I think, from what I understand.
She was in the last row, yes.
Okay. And she was bouncing around, and it really bothered you.
not so much the bouncing around and dancing that she was doing in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were a few rows around us, there weren't people. What was bothering me is that she was she was using a little wand with the bells in it. She was talking about anything under the sun
Mm-hmm.
while the show was performing, and the entire audience was quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to have Petty stop. I tried to explain what was going on, but RJ said, "Oh, no, stop, I got it." And he had to tell me that a couple of times because it wasn't working. She was still doing everything under the sun, making noise, and it was really stressing me out, so I couldn't focus on the performance that was going on
Mm-hmm.
on the stage. And after the second or third time of RJ telling me that he's got it, at that point I couldn't focus on the show that was going on at all.
Right.
And I just stopped watching it and was just really stressed. So I was looking down into my lap trying to just be okay and trying to ignore everything.
Right.
And so I don't know what happened after that. But Maddie started to wail. Like crying, wailing.
Mm-hmm.
And RJ had us leave and we came back here.
Mm-hmm. And so this was a ballet production of Cinderella.
Yes.
And Madison was in the first act.
Mm-hmm.
She was a mouse.
Yeah.
It was very, very cute.
Yeah.
The ballet, the oldest was a senior in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and my goodness, are they talented? It was amazing.
Yeah.
And so, so there's a couple of I don't know what to make of that whole situation because I wasn't there.
Right.
But I know that you get so stressed and upset with the kids that it's hard to tell. I don't know. What you're describing sounds like it was inappropriate for the circumstances.
Yes.
What RG's reaction was, which is what we just talked about at home, how everything is ignored until he loses his cool, and then there's a very quick
response
reaction from him. Yes, a reaction from him.
Mm-hmm.
This time it was that RJ was mad at you for getting on to Mads because the pattern has become that you yell at the kids, so the rest of us tell you, just stop, because it's not helping anything.
Right.
You know, like when you go at somebody, it doesn't help them to recognize their behavior or to change their behavior. Now we're talking about a 5 or 6 year old, so you have to understand what's frustrating is that you get mad at things they do that are not even, they're just being kids. They're
right.
They're age appropriate behaviors.
Right.
And they aggravate the heck out of you.
Some of them, yes.
Okay. Well, so I wasn't there, but what happened was, now RJ is mad at you because he thinks that you wouldn't just let it go. So he scooped her up and made the decision, we're all leaving, because you rode with him.
Yeah.
We're leaving. Well, with that decision, that wasn't your decision. But with that decision, then Mads left before the production was over. She didn't even go back on stage and get to do her final bow. You know, with everybody.
Right.
So, I'm not expecting you to be responsible for RJ. I'm trying to figure out, how does a situation get so out of hand that the 5-year-old doesn't get to go up on stage and do her bow that she's worked on for months with this ballet company?
Right.
And I know that you didn't make that decision. What does all of that, did it come as a surprise to you that he said we're leaving?
Yes and no. No, because that's kind of what I wanted to do, but I didn't mention it at all to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because it actually happened, I guess.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because you're looking, like, you're thinking, like, well, duh, yeah, because it happened, so of course I can see how that happened. Yes.
Yeah, but one of the things that you just nudged my shoed foot with your broken toe.
Yes, I did. Oh, yes, I did.
On accident. And
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yep. So, yes, your foot is kind of, you're sitting kitty corner to me, and your foot is across, and as
you turned the chair, this spinny work chair,
squeaky, spinny work chair, my desk chair is.
You spun away from the microphone towards me, and your foot
broken toe bashed into your foot.
It nudged into it as well. It feels to you like it bashed into it. Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah.
Take a sip of water. I'll talk for a little.
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks.
So one of the things that has happened that I can explain can lead up to this happening.
Okay.
So over the years of the kids growing up, I have gotten a shorter fuse.
Yes.
Like that escalation is much faster to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you knew this, but one of the consequences of sending me away like has happened is that the kids don't listen to what I have to say, and they ignore me. And if I try and explain something to them of why something shouldn't be done, I'm interrupted by someone else. And it's not just... It's so frustrating that they... Even if I tell them something, and that... Even if I tell them that Gammy has said that you're not supposed to do this. Mm-hmm. I want to find out from Gammy.
Yes. So, yes. And okay, so I am opinionated.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the kids, I make distinct decisions. I follow through.
Mm-hmm.
It's a situation where that if they want something, they know who to come to.
Yeah.
And it good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Because because I'm gonna be one that gives in, and not always. I mean, I hold them accountable and stuff, but yes, when it comes to, can I have an ice cream sandwich? They come home from school. Can I have an ice cream sandwich? Somebody else might say, no, you haven't dinner yet. I'm like, yeah. Go ahead, because they've been in school all day, and So yes, that's my take, but it's very definitive. But I will say this to you. This is why I wanted to talk to you about this.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it looks like from all of the other adults viewing what's happening? Is that you start. The tendency has been, the situation has been that they aggravate you, and it's just kind of this perpetual experience in the relationship, so that you're already at that 5. Whether you've been with them all day or not. I mean, the first moments you see them, like, you're at a 5. It's the tolerance for what they do is so low that they're almost like the things that you say are always because they're in trouble. That's how it sounds. So what I'm saying is that's what I'm figuring that's what the kids are experiencing. And what my concern is that I want for them to have respect for you and as a person, and also respect what you have to say and how you feel. It's also important that you show them that respect, because they're trying to find their voices.
I understand that.
And they're wanting the same thing that you want, which is just to feel good around one another. And what they're feeling now is because you're coming in at that 5. Where are you going to go? It's not like coming in at a 5. It's not like being around the kids for a while. It's going to diminish. That's not how this goes usually. So if you're already agitated, how do we make you feel better? Because when we make you feel better, then your relationship with them is going to improve, and then they can feel better about you. Make sense?
Yeah. I think I know why it's connecting in my head.
Okay.
As we've been talking.
Mm-hmm.
I think I realize why it seems like I come off as starting at a 5.
Okay.
To get the kids' attention, because they're constantly just all over the place, I have to call their name. And if I say, Connor, Maddie, they won't hear me, they won't listen. Mm-hmm. Well, granted, they don't do it either way, but
what do you mean?
If I'm more forceful about it, they still won't hear me or listen.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But they're in the past leading up to now, if I try and get their attention with the more stern voice, which is what I tend to start with them, because they're, in my mind, I have something I'm trying to tell them, to teach them, to explain something.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not going to listen to me, that's already right off the bat going to make me escalate. And
because they think that they're getting in trouble by you, right?
It does. Let me just continue.
Okay.
If you guys are around and you hear me with that say their names like that, I'm not allowed to continue. Because it sounds like from your point of view, I'm already at that 5, and you don't want for me to have to escalate that, and you don't want to have the kids be subject to that. You don't let me continue. Not just you. I'm saying
it's gotten to that point. You're right. That right. Yeah.
When what I'm trying to do is get their attention so that I can explain to them why they shouldn't be doing something and then give alternatives what they can do. I'm never able to get to that part. So or if I am able to get partway through what they shouldn't do, then I'm cut off then. And that's
it's gotten to be very challenging. You're absolutely right. We cut you off because you coming in elevated like that doesn't help. And also, and I don't know how to help this, when they're just being kids, there's nothing to change. Do you know what I mean? Like the behavior. I understand that the loudness bothers you, that the bouncing around like crazy can bother you, the mess that they're, when you're trying to make a point of something and they're not responding how you would like. I know that all of that really is bothersome to you. And I get it. But let me just correct that. I get it, period. They are sometimes just doing kid stuff. They're not doing anything that needs to be corrected because it's not hurting anybody. It's not out of line with what a 5-year-old would do or a 6-year-old would do. And it's bothering you. How do we come to a point, and how could we help you to see what things are appropriate and what are not? Look, you have sensory issues, right?
Yeah.
Does the loud noise bother you? Yes. Does it mean that them being loud is wrong? No.
I'm not... There are a lot of things that kids do that aren't they're just being kids, that aren't that.
Okay.
And a lot of the times they're doing other things that are not okay to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it very difficult for me to see what they're doing and not be able to do anything about it. So it's not... I'm not saying this very well. I'm trying to...
No, I think what you're saying, for what I hear you saying, is that there are times when what the kids are doing, it is out of line. And it's not okay. And even if you try to say something, then you're cut off and you're not allowed to help to correct them or help to teach them.
Right.
Right.
And
you're right.
Almost as often,
Mm-hmm.
not as often, but almost as often. Mm-hmm. If I'm in a room with the kids and they do something and I'm trying to explain something to them that they shouldn't be doing, and then someone else walks in, mm-hmm. they're then told the exact opposite of what I'm trying to teach them.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's so frustrating.
Yes. And I'm laughing that not at you or that stress that you're in, but just the situation is it's like one of those where you just shake your head. You go, okay, what do we do? How do we help this? Yeah. Now we got to a point where excuse me, you're cut off because what the rest of us are seeing is that there are times when you full out yell at the kids, and that's not good for any of you. You get so upset with them, and I get it. And sometimes excuse me, sometimes the thing that helps is it, and I can't remember, I think it was your dad that said this to you, yesterday or day before yesterday, which was, you're like, he won't listen, he can't do it, and your dad said, Josh, what do you have difficulty with? And you looked at him and he goes, so does Connor. And then you kind of went, oh. Right, so not everything that he's doing can be put in a category of being wrong. One of the words that I don't ever use with the kids is bad. I don't ever say that they're bad, that they're being bad, because I don't look at it that way. They're trying to find their way. Mm-hmm. There's things decisions that they make as they go through life, and teaching them, the just watching them and helping them and guiding them to in the direction of kindness, mm-hmm. and honesty, mm-hmm. And integrity. Mm-hmm. There's going to be bumpy roads getting there, because they're just trying to find themselves.
Right.
Connor has autism. Mm-hmm. And so, just like with you, sometimes when we take extra care, give extra time, even when we are all out, we try to search around for some more patience.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's important to recognize that his behavior is that can be addressed without hurting the boy. And I don't mean physically. I mean the words that are used with little kids as they're growing up, it matters. The tone of voice matters. And I know that this is something that you struggle with. You know, how there are times when I have said to you, watch how you speak to me. And you go, what happened?
Yeah.
And I look at you and I'm like, you don't know? You were right here. You said it. You don't know. You're like, what? No, I didn't mean it that way. So
Yeah.
how many times have we had that kind of conversation, right?
So many.
Yes. So I get that this is a hard concept for you. What I want you to understand is this is also a hard concept for Connor. It's just that he's 6. And so I think Dad reminding you that those things that you struggle with, he's struggling with.
It's frustrating and difficult to me and for me that I've seen another issue I've seen happen.
Okay.
Is that Connor, you guys are trying to teach Connor something and are not using the words that'll get to him and help him understand.
Well, help us.
I'm not allowed to. It's not that I'm not allowed to. I'm sorry. That's absolutely the wrong words. It's that I can't explain it to him either in a timely fashion or in the moment thing, or it.
If you help us, if you see that situation and you can help us to help him, then we would love that. If you have an insight, if there's moments that you see where you have an insight, let's come up with something right now. How can you do that? Can you just go, put your hand up, get our attention? I can help. Or I know what to do. I know what to say. I know what he needs. You let us know which way you want to do this, and then we will absolutely defer to what you have to say and your insight, because you would know better than any of us. We're on the outside, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you have the inside scoop to Connor's
thought process.
Yeah, thought process, and just how he functions.
Yeah.
Often.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic for you to share that with us. If you see those things, like in the moment, just, yes, please, right then, right there, let us know that you have an insight, and because we want it.
Yeah.
We're working with all these professionals to try to soak up this knowledge and this wisdom on how best to help Connor.
Yeah.
When, you're right here. If you have, you're the best that we could ask for. If you have something, please share it with us. Now, I will say this. When it comes to us stopping you from sometimes dealing with the kids, there's a couple of things, I think. One of them is very valid, that the tone and and volume and that you have approaching them is I
Too
can
much?
yes, I can see that they would think, oh, I'm in trouble, and you know what? A lot of times when they think they're going to get in trouble, they hurry and do the thing before they're made to stop. Whatever. Look, I'm not defending them like they're little, little,
Right. Right.
they do the right thing all the time because they're learning every day.
Right.
And so are we. And Mads takes her cues from Connor.
Mm-hmm.
And
They egg each other on constantly.
it's so much easier to have one of them.
Yeah.
So much easier. When those kids are separated, it's golden. It's so
It's easier. It's much
it's
easier.
It's nice. It's and when they're together, they kind of. I've described it before. Like I watched this documentary, and they threw this chum into the water, and all these sharks came and just like this, right? It's like that's what it's like to me. Like sometimes with the kids, all this rapid movement that's just kind of nonstop and chaotic and crazy, and you just
It's horrifying, and you can't look away.
Yeah, exactly. There is a part of this that I wanted to say to you that I feel like needs to be said. Is that we've witnessed your reaction to them so many times that we are more than likely being unfair to you because we're anticipating you being out of line with the kids.
Yeah. And
that's not fair to you.
that learned response is, because that's exactly what it is a learned response.
Mm-hmm.
Is what has taught the kids the learned response to just ignore me.
I disagree. That's
That's my point of view. That's
Okay.
what I feel.
Okay.
That's not
Okay.
necessarily that it's wrong. It's what I feel is
Okay.
happening and has happened.
Okay. What I view that situation to be that they tune you out because more often than not when you're talking to them, it's something negative. It's something that they're in trouble. It's not,
Right.
and that's why I think they tune you out. That's why I think they don't want to listen because when you're going to speak to them in that tone, it's usually you're going to take something away. They're going to stop doing something they want to do. They're not going to get something they want.
Yeah.
And so I get it. Same situation. We just see it differently.
Yeah.
And all right, so how can we make it so that you feel better around them, so that their experience with you becomes different, so that we're not stopping you from to make sure that everybody listening knows exactly what this is, you will come in and you will start going to them about something, and we just say, stop, we've got it, and because you're elevated already. Yeah. So we are
I can't sit down, it's hurting my back and butt. Sorry. I'm still here, I'm stretching because I'm hurting from sitting.
Okay.
That's my wrist.
Oh. So how do we make this, how do we help the situation to be something that's not dysfunctional the way that it is? Because I feel like we're all reacting to each other in a way that's not healthy. 'Cause I don't want the kids to feel like every time you say something to them it's going to be no bueno. So they want to ignore you because it's not going to be something they want.
Right.
And also want you to be able to interact with them and you feel positive about it.
Yeah. That's what I would like too.
Mm-hmm.
I think being able to talk this out with you like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is going to be one of the big factors that helps change things.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, I mean, there is the sarcastic response of just don't let the kids be around me. But, or is that, I don't remember what the term is, but.
Snarky?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good term for it.
Yep.
But I think that this is a step in the right direction to have talked with you about this.
Yeah. There's one other part to it that I think that is important. And that is that I think one of the things that I do is I spend an awful lot of time still helping you to stay on track, whether it's with Social Security or with laundry or teeth brushing or, you know, just making sure that you're doing the things you need to do. Now, except for work. You have got work figured out.
Yeah.
I don't ever tell you have to get up and go to work.
Right.
You do that. That's your priority.
Yeah.
But everything else, I'm kind of prompting and redirecting. And I think there's a part of me that feels like, well, if you need prompting and redirecting all the time, then how do you step in then as a responsible person when you're dealing with the kids? And I think that that's something that, I don't know if this is going to make any sense to you or not, but as we're talking about all this stuff, it just makes me feel like, I wonder if that's part of what I've been feeling without even realizing I've been feeling it, which is, I help you. I don't even like the way I said that.
You have prompted and redirected me so much throughout my life that this is from me.
Okay.
From my side of things, that after being with RJ at his apartment while the construction's been going on, I haven't necessarily had prompting and redirecting while I was over there. And so when I come back here, from my perspective, I'm feeling, whenever the prompting and redirecting does happen. What was that?
That was my knees.
I thought that was like your knees going down to your toes.
Oh, that was my knees. Both knees at one time. Ow. I just stretched.
I feel restricted a little bit,
mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so because I had the freedom while I was over there to do what I needed to do in the time frame that I wanted to do them in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come back here and it's not as much freedom, it feels like, even though I have that freedom.
Right.
That's frustrating to me, and it just...
Well, you go from being just you, and you're dealing with this stuff on your own, to coming back into this family unit where there's more people, and now the conversation is not, you just going, hey, I'm going to go to Taco Bell. Now it's, this is what's for dinner.
Yeah.
And it's just different.
Yeah.
And then now there's dishes to be done. And then you have to have a conversation then, I need to do laundry this day.
Yeah.
Or that day.
Yeah.
It's me, when you're heading out to work, did you brush your teeth? You're going, I don't have time. That's what you did the other day. I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I
did. I was really stressed because I was running by my timing late.
Right. Although by actual timing, you were just fine.
I got there with a couple minutes to spare, yes.
Right. But also what I'm saying is that, yes, so for that point of view, I understand that. It's interesting that to watch you, I don't know how to say this, and I'll just say it because I don't know how to say it differently. I don't want to sound like a jerk or anything. But
don't worry, I'll tease you about it later.
Okay. I think that there's a part of me that goes, hey, wait, you need help. Oh, you're correcting somebody. You're stepping up in a kind of a abrupt, harsh way, talking to the kids this way, correcting them.
When I have issues of my own. You probably wouldn't word it that way, but...
I wouldn't word it that way, but yes. But don't we all, right? I'm saying...
Right, but I get what you're saying, though, yeah.
And I think that plays a part in this because I'm your mom, I'm their gammy, and I'm kind of parenting everybody, and then the one that I still am still parenting.
She's pointing at me.
Yeah, still parenting is now yelling at the little ones, and I feel like this. And what I'm saying is that I just think that maybe I'm feeling. Didn't realize it, but I think maybe part of it is that, well, you I don't know, I think what I'm trying to say is, how can you help the little ones to grow and to be successful?
When I still have all these issues of my own? Again,
yeah, it does sound as terrible as I thought it was going to. Yeah, well, yes.
There is something I would like to clear up.
Okay.
You've been saying that I've been yelling at the kids, and from my perspective, I'm not.
Okay.
So it's that's just another thing on it, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
It's about the perception.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the perception. And what I was just saying is that the reason I bring that up is not because as we're talking about this, like when you say how when we're talking this out, how you're realizing some things and I'm realizing some things that maybe I'm stopping you from correcting them because I'm still so often
correcting me.
Yes, and so to speak, not exactly, but so to speak. And so I think that maybe that is something that have been doing subconsciously. That I'm glad that we talked this out because your support is important for the kids to grow up.
Yeah.
And to be successful. Your insight is significant and important. And I think that maybe you were lumped in the group as a kid and not realizing it, but I think in my mind I was like, hey kid, leave the kids alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think
just
that...
another brick in the wall.
Yeah, right. Right. So I think that that's probably... my takeaway from this is that I realized maybe that I was framing this without realizing it in a certain way that wasn't helpful, which is probably why I'm stopping you so much.
Right.
Could you go away from this conversation now and maybe be mindful of the tone in which you speak to the kids, if that's possible? If not the tone, the level of volume. I'd start there because the tone is separate. This tone is okay. Forget I said that. The volume level. And also, how do we help you to see that sometimes the things that they do, it's just okay because they're just being kids?
There are, especially... let me try that again. there are a lot of times where I realize right after I try to get their attention about something that that's what they're doing, that it is about the kids, being kids.
Okay.
But again, I'm shot down right as that happens, so.
Okay. So let's just start everything all over. All right?
All right.
I will tell everybody to leave you alone when it comes to the kids. And you figure out how to use your knowledge and wisdom that you have, that you're so wonderful at sharing with other people. Use that to help Connor. Like, just understand him on his level, because you have that capacity far better than we do. Use that to help him. When you help him, she's gonna, benefit from that. Yeah, she's gonna benefit from that as well.
Yeah.
Let's just be mindful of where you start, because how you speak to them makes a difference. They know. It's like if you were going to speak to Einstein.
I'd have to start with a yell because he can't hear.
But if you speak sweet, you're going to get it. Any dog. Okay, pick a hearing dog. Bella. If you speak to them in a kind way, then they're going to
have better response.
Right. Like if you get down and you speak into, Nellie in a nice sweet way, she's going to come over to you.
Yeah.
If you stand up and you raise your voice, she's going to scurry the other way.
Right.
And so it really does make a difference. It's just, I'm not comparing the kids to dogs, but it does make a difference.
Yeah.
For all beings, how you're spoken to.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so I think we have an understanding.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, we're going to start new.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to respect what you have to share, your insights, and you're going to approach them in a
different manner, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kinder.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Deal?
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think our work here is done. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you have any suggestions for us, please send them. We always appreciate that. We love hearing from you.
Yeah.
And please give us 5 stars. We appreciate that. The website is sonyaking.com.
SONYA.com.
I'm sorry,
SONYKING.com.
Yeah, all of that. All of that. Yeah.
The one time I try and help.
Yeah, check us out. Anyways, everybody, I hope you're happy and healthy out there. Take care of each other and give each other big hugs. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Love you.
Bye.